Hi everyone, welcome to episode 219 of Under the Microscope. I'm your host Pranoti, and today we will find out why stressing quantum dots can surprisingly enhance their functionality. This is in complete contrast to what our previous guest explained to us why relaxing the quantum dots is very important. The Science Talk is an official science communication partner of the QUANTOR project, and today's guest is the second QUANTOR hero. So far, we have had the two co-organizers of the QUANTOR project feature on Under the Microscope. Today, we will introduce you to the second QUANTOR hero who will be hosting Quantum Emitter, which is traveling across 12 different labs over the course of 12 months. Today, we will understand why stressing quantum dots is important. We will also go into the mysteries of the quantum entanglement. We will talk more about that. We will understand that a lot more. We will also understand the material science behind the quantum dots. We'll also explore the alignment of the quantum dots and also, of course, more about the QUANTOR project. There is also a very interesting connection between Armando and today's guest. Stay tuned to learn more about that. I hope you will enjoy this episode. Let's get started. Welcome to Under the Microscope. My name is Pranoti. I'm your host, and today I'm very excited to introduce you to our guest, Rinaldo Trotta, who is a professor at the Sapienza University of Rome in Italy. Hi, Rinaldo. How are you?
Hi, Pranoti. Hi, nice to see you, and thank you for this opportunity. Really excited to part of this podcast.
But let's get into it. Please tell me about your research in super simple words.
So what we do here at the University of Rome Sapienza, we work with semiconductor nanostructures. Our research activity is really at the interface between semiconductor physics and quantum optics. And then we get these very tiny nanostructures. They are called quantum dots. And I know that you are by now should be an expert on quantum dots because you have many talks on that. You already know that these tiny nanostructures are able to generate single photons, so particles of light. And then in principle, it is possible to use these single photons to perform secure communication. This is already what you know. But what you do here at Sapienza, actually we get these tiny nanostructures and without this. So you may remember in previous talks that growers are really trying hard to get these nanostructures without slits. And then we actually apply this on top. And the reason why we do that is that we want to force these tiny nanostructures to generate not only single photons, but also pairs of polarization entangled photons. This is what we would like. And they can do it only in very special conditions. Okay, so that's the reason why we need to apply the stress to the nanostructures in such a way that we get these entangled photons. And now these entangled photons, and that's really the core of our research activity. So as I mentioned, semiconductor physics, so tiny nanostructures, then they apply stress, electric fields, magnetic fields, whatever you can imagine. So external perturbations. And then we get these pairs of entangled photons, and then we use these entangled photons to implement quantum communication protocols, and in particular, secure communication. Okay. And our dream would be to do that over really large scale, so over the globe. This is what we would like. So we get these tiny nanostructures, and then we start to send them around. We implement protocols like teleportation and entanglement swapping. And so we send them around, and then we try to communicate in an absolute secure. Not only using single photons, as we might have heard before, but using entanglement.
Okay, I have so many questions. First question. So Armando mentioned there are two types of quantum dots. There are the colloidal quantum dots, which are spherical. And then there are the epitaxial quantum dots, which are like, if you cut a cookie, then it's like a semicircle or a bump of sorts. So which quantum dots are you talking about?
I'm mainly using epitaxial quantum dots. Actually, recently I had a look at also the other type of quantum dots, but I think that these for quantum technologies are more promising, so the epitaxial quantum.
Okay, because the colloidal ones, they are for the LCD screens, but the ones that you also use, similar to Armando, are these epitaxial quantum dots. And then you stress them with electrical and magnetic fields and all kinds of things. So what Armando mentioned, that they create like a negative of the bump, then they deposit a material which has a similar lattice constant, and so that the stress will be less, but then there will still be the epitaxial quantum dots.
Let me be precise. So also the colloidal quantum dots in principle can be used to the quantum, let's say, applications, quantum technologies. They can also be used. So far, epitaxial quantum dots show the best properties as a sources of single and entangled quantum.
Okay. Well, you mentioned entangled something with the, entangled interaction, something like that. What is that about? What do you mean by entangled? Explain it to me. I don't understand it.
Yeah, so being a little bit technical, I would need to say that entanglement describes, so usually in the community we say superposition of correlation. I would like to explain very simple words. So imagine you have particles, okay? And the state of these two particles, so the two particles are entangled. Now, quantum mechanics tells you that the quantum state remains completely locked together. Okay? And if you perform one measurement, for example, the polarization of one of these particles, imagine a photon, then this measurement, it will immediately affect the state, the measurement on the other. I would like to explain you even more in a simple way. So imagine that we have here, I hope you can see those. So we have dices. Okay. And now imagine that we can describe these two dices with an entanglement. Entanglement these two dice. And now the point is that if you now look at just one of those, and then you start to roll the dice, and then you write down the outcome of the measurement, you may find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then now if someone else does it on the other dice, what happens is that you will find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on and so forth. So each of them, so the two characters that usually name Ennis and Bob. So when they look at the outcome of the measurements, they find that the result is completely random. They look at the result, and then they write down the outcome, and then they say, okay, they look at the numbers, and they say the result is random. Ennis does it on this side, Bob does it on the other side, and they both find the outcome random. But the nice thing here is that when you compare the results, they are perfectly correlated. When you throw in the first time and you find 1, I also find 1. Now let me go on that telling you that quantum mechanics is telling you that the state of this two is completely undetermined. So just imagine that these two dices are the same numbers at the same time. And now you make a measurement on this dice and then you find 1. Instantaneously will find 1 on my side. This is 2 actually. I will find 1 on my, okay? But this is what quantum mechanics is telling you. It's nature. That's a bad thing. I've done these things have to be taken with tweezers because entanglement you see when you go really in the nano world. When microscopic object, entanglement is very fragile and it's extremely hard to see.
So when you say entangled, it is the entanglement between the two dice that you showed just now, because they are kind of interconnected. And that is that you have a dice in Italy, I have a dice in Germany, and I'm throwing the dice and I'm thinking, I'm just talking to Rinaldo. And of course, the dice is showing 1 or number 2, and I think it is random. And Rinaldo, so you also throw the dice while you're talking and you just see 1 or 2 depending on, and we both think it is random, but actually it is not random. Oh my God.
Exactly. That's nature.
Can this happen with 3 dice? So I have a dice in Germany, you have a dice in Italy, and Armando, let's say, has a dice in Austria. Can that entanglement be with 3 dice?
It's rather complicated, but there are scenarios like this. Yes. You can have even multi, if you speak about photons, right? So because we use these nanostructures to generate photons. And then it makes happen that very specific conditions can have, for example, several photons which are entangled with each other.
Oh, and that is why this is secure. This is the element that is important for this communication between you and me or whoever.
The point is that to really explain you in simple words, so if we do share, you have a dice and I have the other one, if we do share perfectly entangled state, no one else can have even a single part of the share. So it established a connection between me and you, and no one else in the world can take a share of this entanglement.
They can't tap into it. And even if they do tap into our phones or our connection, they will see the dice showing 1 and 1, but what it means, they wouldn't know.
Right.
Because only I have the dice and only you have the dice, which is the key, what Doris was referring to, that I have a key, you have a key. And if a third person tries to unlock the key or tries to understand or decode, then it just gets destroyed for them.
Right. When it gets destroyed. So we will need to communicate which kind of measurement we make, right? Showing the outcome of the measurement. Then we can put the phone and I can tell which kind of measurement are you making? And then I make some of the same measurement and then we automatically get the same outcome depending on the type of entanglement state we are dealing.
Okay. This is super fascinating. Now tell me the part about, you said the goal is to distribute the entanglement all over the globe. What do you exactly mean by that? Does that mean that, let's say you sitting in Italy and there is a person sitting in Australia that this Alice and Bob say, is that what you mean or what exactly do you mean?
The point is that we would like actually to make long distance quantum communication, right? If you have two parties, right, that want to communicate, you may, for example, have one nanostructure here and send a photon, right? So remember that a single nanostructure can generate a single photon per time. Now what happens is that during the communication distance, right, this photon can get lost.
Yeah, correct.
Right? And what happens is that you may have secure communication even with single photons, right? So a nanostructure sends a single photon, and then you, as you heard from Diaz and the others, you may have secure communication even with single photons, right? But the point is that these work over a distance of about 100 kilometers. Okay? And because you basically have photon losses.
Correct.
Now you need to ask yourself, how can I actually overcome this problem and send quantum information from either in Italy to Australia is by far more than 100 kilometers, right?
Right.
The point is that from a classical perspective, you would say, okay, how does it work with the classical signals? So I use amplifiers.
Correct.
But you don't do that here because you're dealing with quantum bits.
Correct.
And there is a famous theorem, it's called no cloning theorem, telling you that you cannot actually copy and amplify. It's a quantum signal. Okay, so it's just for you to understand.
Okay.
But the point is that, so how are you going to do that? And this is the funny thing. Entanglement allows you somehow to increase this communication. And how does this work? So I told you, imagine that you have a pair of entangled particles or entangled photons, whatever you want. Right. And now the distance between these two may be, I don't know, 100 kilometers or so.
Right.
And now you have another pair of entangled. There is a procedure which is called entanglement swapping, which I think is one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. And you put them in a box. Okay. And now quantum mechanics tells you that after looking at the results of this measurement, the other two photons gets entangled.
If 100 kilometers is the range, so to say, then you just build towers or these boxes for the swapping so that the signal from, let's say, Mannheim to Rome, if the distance is 800 kilometers, then we need 8 points to do the swapping.
This is let's say, simple version of it, okay? So in reality, you would need quantum memories, and it's more complicated than that. But the core ingredients is really disentanglement.
Oh, that is cool. And can we do that with satellites and stuff? Is that not? Well, of course, we can do it with satellites.
There was an experiment a few years ago where actually they managed to distribute entangled photons using satellite. Yeah, I can't remember the distance.
That is so cool.
Well, from the satellite, this was an incredible experiment done in China.
Oh, wow. That is awesome. Okay. Then let me ask you this question and then we will move on to the next one. But first, I want to know, Armando was super keen on unstressing or relaxing the quantum dots. Why do you want to stress them? Let them be. They're already stressed. Why do you want to stress the quantum dots?
Well, I mean, the point is that I mentioned at the beginning that these quantum dots can generate entangled photons in a very specific condition. Okay?
Yes, correct. Yes.
Okay? You may remember that this is actually related to symmetry of the confining potential of electrons and holes, confined things quantum dots. However, to make it very simple, I want to show you just the idea. The theory is telling you, so you see, here we have a small
I see a
ball.
ball.
Theory, so imagine that this is a quantum dot, okay? Super
Correct.
simplified version. And then now I'm telling you that theory tells us that you can get entangled photons only when this is round. I'm oversimplifying it.
Of course.
Is the symmetry of the confining potential, okay? Meaning that you can get entangled photons if this dot is round. Okay?
Right.
Now the point is that every quantum dot is slightly different from the other and it's not round. So that means that now if you take a quantum dot is like this, naturally it doesn't give you this entanglement. Okay?
Aha. Okay.
And that's the reason why I want to stress electric field, magnetic field. Okay? So we want to start from a configuration which is like this, and then you squeeze this ball now, and then you make it round. And when you do it, so you get entangled photons. So once again, this is dot without stress, but it has a certain shape. And now I stress it, or I apply electric field, magnetic field, and then somehow the shape looks like this, and then it gives you entanglement.
Oh, so for it to perform and emit the photons, you need to change the shape, for example. So that is why you do so what you're doing is you're manipulating the quantum dots in order for them to emit photons. Doesn't Armando then also have an issue if his quantum dots are relaxed, that they are not able to emit the photons? Or is it dependent on the material, which is why you need to stress your quantum dots, but Armando doesn't need to stress his quantum dot? What is the difference here?
Well, so the point is that, so Armando can reach with this machine, so he showed you the oven. The point is that with this machine, he can make the quantum dot as close as possible to a sphere. Okay?
Right.
So that's it. And then if he manages to do that, then he also gets entangled.
Ah, okay.
But there is a but. Okay?
Right.
And you should not forget that this structure is composed of several thousand elements.
Correct. Yeah.
And it is rather difficult to control the shape of this nanostructure, the symmetry, I should say, with the required accuracy. So the point is that it tries to do that, okay?
Yeah.
But not always he manages. So that's the point. And also it needs quantum dots. So we can use a strain, electric field, to restore the structural symmetry, and then to force the quantum dots to give us entanglement.
Okay. And then, so what is the material of your quantum dots? Because I think Armando mentioned he had the gallium arsenide quantum dots. So what quantum dots do you have? What is the material of your quantum dots? Or which is your favorite material for quantum dots so that you can manipulate them and stress them to get the most out of it?
My favorite quantum dots are Armando's quantum.
Oh, really? Oh, come on. You can't say that. I was trying to fuel a fire and start a feud between, Armando's quantum dots are not always the best. Come on, Rinaldo, give me some drama here.
No, well, I have to say that Armando explained you that it took him a lot of time to fabricate these nanostructures without stress. And he also invested a lot of time to make them as symmetric as possible.
Correct.
But still, you need a little bit of spray to really make them perfect for entanglement for the generation.
Correct. So you're still sticking with Armando's quantum dots are your favorite. Because you know that Armando is going to watch this video.
Well, I worked with Armando for many years. So we know very well each other. And I really believe that this quantum dot is state of the art.
Okay, well, I tried, guys. Everyone listening or watching, I tried to get some drama with the QUANTOR heroes, but I will try probably later on. We are about to take a short break, but stay tuned because when we return, we will dive deep into the career journey of our guest today. It is always inspiring to see the paths that lead scientists to where they are now. Don't miss it. I hope you're enjoying this episode of Under the Microscope. I'm your host, Pranoti, and I absolutely love bringing you these conversations with the brilliant minds in the field of materials and nanoscience. It's incredible to hear about their research, their journeys, and their dreams for the future. At the Science Talk, Through our flagship podcast that is Under the Microscope, our vision is very simple. We want to bridge the gap between the scientist and the public. We believe that platforms like this podcast can create a space where scientists can share their stories, challenge stereotypes, and inspire others with their passion and experiences. If you're enjoying these deep dives into the world of materials and nanoscience, I would love for you to consider supporting us by becoming a patron. Your support means the world to us. It helps us keep the podcast running, improve the quality, and reach even more curious minds such as you. As a patron, you will get some awesome perks like early access to the episodes, behind the scenes content, and even special shout outs on the show. Plus, you will be joining a wonderful community of science enthusiasts who believe in the power of sharing knowledge. So if you're up for it, head over to patreon.com/thesciencetalk and see how you can get involved. Every little bit helps, and we are so grateful for your support. Thank you for being part of our mission to make science more accessible and engaging for everyone. Please follow the link in the description, in the show notes, on Spotify, or wherever you're listening to this or watching this on YouTube, and do consider being our patron. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and let's get back to the episode. Tell me about your career journey to becoming a professor in Rome, in Italy.
I actually studied here. I did my master here. Then I did my PhD here. And then 1 year postdoc. And then it was after the weather itself, go outside Italy. And I went to Dresden.
Ooh. Is that where you met Armando?
Right.
Aha. Okay.
Right. Yeah. So I went to Dresden, and at that time I didn't know that Armando was there. So I applied big boss there in Oliver Schmidt. And then I ended up working with Armando. And when Armando went to Linz, I followed. I got a position as a university assistant. Was a possibility, let's say, to do my tenure track. And I went there, and then it was, so I had no that at the beginning. And with empty rooms, I built up a lab, and then I started also to build up a group there, named Nanophotonics. And then after, I think I stayed there something like 5 years, something like that. Then I did my habilitation in Austria. Then I became a professor in Austria. And then I got the sister Finland.
The early career researcher from the EU.
From the EU, right. And and then I had some other possibility to go back to Italy with this brand. And also here, I got 70 roles, and I had to build up the lab again from scratch.
Why didn't you just move the lab from Linz to Rome?
Not so easy, right? So it was quite tough, I have to say. But in the end, everything worked really well. And so I have to say I'm quite happy here. So I have my own lab, I have my own group, and we do all the research we want. So you see, that's the reason why we get this tight connection with Armando, right? So we worked together many years.
You two go way back, so it will be difficult for me to introduce some sort of feud because it's like you grew up together, becoming professors. It's also interesting that you met in Dresden, and it's quite interesting because, well, I'm based in Germany. So for me, it's like Armando is in Austria, you are in Italy, but you met in Germany.
Right.
For whatever it's worth. See, I'm looking for some drama here, and you're not giving me any. This is really cool. And also setting up the labs and starting for empty rooms is something that a lot of people who are even scientists or like masters or bachelor's students or even PhDs in some cases, they have never even thought about it. That everything, all the fancy toys you see around you in the lab, at some point it was an empty room, which your PI or your PI's PI had to build from scratch. This is something that...
And I did it twice.
Yes, you did it twice. You are a pro now. You can be the go-to consultant for starting the lab from scratch.
But I confess that I don't want to do it anymore.
I don't know. You don't do it. You just help others do it, and you watch from the sidelines while you instruct them how to do it.
Right.
Because I'm assuming also there is a lot of paperwork and admin stuff, which Armando also spoke about, that the admin, the bureaucracy sucks the joy out of the research. Okay, so you have moved around quite a bit. You started in Rome, then you went to Dresden, then you went to Linz. You were there for quite some time, and now you're back in Rome. So it sounds to me that you have been involved in a lot of interesting research projects. So now I don't want you to hate me, but if I ask you to pick one research project that you're most proud of, can you pick one and explain it to us in simple words in the section we call In Other Words?
Only one, you said.
Only one. Sorry, only one.
The one really that I'm sentimentally bound somehow project is, as I mentioned, growers was trying really to get this structural symmetry as close as possible. Quantum mechanics is telling you that you can't do that. Really wondering why and how. And then somehow we found the key. And then we understood why. What we discovered that every quantum dot is different from the other. The trick is to use two different stresses. Use one stress to rotate, and then we use the other one to make it symmetric. That's my favorite thing.
That is brilliant. Of course, now that you say it, it's like simple, obviously, duh. Oh, wow, that is brilliant. But so how can I imagine this? So you have an array of quantum dots. So you have 8 by 8, that means 64 quantum dots, and some of them are aligned. These are the hero quantum dots, which are standing straight, so that if you apply stress along its axis in parallel, then it becomes spherical.
What you have to do, you have to adjust the magnitude of your perturbation for each specific quantum dot. And then you need to tune the stress on each of these quantum dots individually if you want to tune them all for entangled photon generation. We demonstrated that you can take any quantum dot and tune it for entangled photon generation. And actually, we built up a device that uses 3 different stresses, not only 2, but 3. But the idea is very simple, right? You start stretching all directions until you get what you want. So this is basically the physics.
So you need localized forces. You need control very locally so that you don't disturb the neighboring quantum dots in the vicinity.
That's actually what we would like to do in the future. The moment we begin our substrate in many quantum dots, and then pick up the one we like, okay? And then we start applying stresses in directions, and then we choose that one for entangled photon generation. And of course, you got it right. The stress that we use to tune that one for entanglement is not suitable to tune another one. So you need to change this. So that means that if you want to have many of those, you need to be able to apply locally stress. And this is something actually is topic for future research.
Do you even want the quantum dots next to each other? Let's say 100 nanometers or so, or do you not care? You just want one quantum dot on one substrate and that's enough?
Well, I mean, we would like to get a low density of quantum dots. And the reason is simple. We look at these quantum dots with our microscope. We don't want to look at more than one per time. So we would like them to be apart, let's say, microscope.
Okay, and how big are your quantum dots? Because now Armando taught me that the way you measure, like what you're reporting is the height of the quantum dots and not the spread. So How big are your quantum dots?
So the quantum dots are a few nanometers in height, like 6, but it depends actually. And the plane, so it can be 20, 30, 40 nanometers.
Bumpy quantum dots.
Bumpy
dots, which you like to stress. Okay. But hey, you said that when you imagine this baseball ball, which you want to make a sphere, but if your quantum dots are bumpy, like bumps or like slices of cookie, how do you make them, like which axis are you going for? How do you make them spherical? Okay, I feel like I'm asking you all your secrets, which you probably want to publish soon.
Actually, there is no secret. I mean, of course, I oversimplified, right? And the point is that what is important is not the shape of the dot, but actually its structural symmetry. It can be proved from a theoretical point of view that the problem lies in 2D, okay? In 3D, you may have either a circle or an ellipse, okay? From a theoretical perspective. When it's precise, you cannot really measure high quality then. This is not.
Okay, I understand now. Okay, so now your quantum dots, you stress them to make them better so that they will emit photons. Now tell me about the QUANTOR project, the quantum source, which is traveling around Europe, 12 different labs, 12 months, one source. Doris and Toby, I have 2 votes now, 10 more to go. Okay, unite them all. I'm going to use that. I want the drama. So now I was talking about the science of it. So there are these concentric circles like a dart board, and you have your quantum dots that are ready. And how are you going to do it? I asked the same question to Armando, but I want you to explain it to me as well.
Well, actually, it's quite interesting because I'm also working pretty much on these kind of structures. Okay, so the one that is to look at the properties that traveling across Europe. And the reason is it's very simple to understand because now you have this chip, right? And I would be very happy to see the properties of the quantum dot embedded in this dark light structure. But now this time, not only looking at the single photons, but what I would like to see is whether it is a sphere or an ellipse. I'd like to see what that kind of source can be used not only to generate single photons, but also entangled photons. So get this source actually is here. We will look carefully at all the properties, but this time, since we are interested in entangled photons, we look also at this symmetry, structural symmetry, to see whether in principle it's possible to get entangled.
The dot is already inside the bullseye, and you're going to do the measurement, and then you're going to do the entanglement. So you will put 2 rings next to each other. Are you also going to do this swapping thingy where you put 3 rings next to each other and then you're like doing the information transfer, or am I like going too far here?
It's really important to see all the properties of the source. We did already something similar, but this bullseye cavity with the dot inside. I told you that if you want to generate entangled photons, the dot should have a certain structural symmetry. And I'm very curious to see, but probably the dot which is inside the bullseye will not have this symmetry. And now it gets interesting, right, in the future, to have these bullseye cavity and start to stretch it around and then to see whether it gets that you can get entangled from them.
Are you going to do that with the source that you receive like today that you have the QUANTOR source, or you're going to do it with your bullseye structure with the quantum dot inside?
Actually, it is already with our bullseye structure. And we are not going to do it with a chip with a seed, simply because it has to continue
its journey. You don't want to play with it. The source has arrived. It is in Rome. We saw on Instagram that the source in the aluminum suitcase took a train from Linz to Rome. It's in the same building as you, where you're sitting. So have you seen the source yet? What was that like? Tell me your experience of opening the suitcase.
After, our conversation, go to the lab and then open it. So stay posted on Instagram because we will show you.
By the time the podcast comes out, there would have been already reels on Instagram, QUANTOR.eu, where Rinaldo is opening suitcase and we are looking at the source, or he's looking and he and his team is looking at the source. That is brilliant. Do you also have a sticker ceremony planned?
We do.
I will not ask you questions about that because I want to be surprised with what kind of sticker ceremony do you do. Because the one in Linz was also quite a lot of fun.
I was there as well.
You were there as well? Oh, for the workshop.
Right.
So you already know the behind the scenes and everything. Okay, perfect. Looking forward to the pictures and the videos of you opening the suitcase, source, and then also the sticker ceremony. Now let me shift gears a little bit and tell me, other than the research aspect, which I think you like a lot, I feel like you really love the research, but there is more to you as a professor or as a scientist than the mere research, so to say. So what else do you like about being a scientist or being a professor now?
Mainly, I would say teaching is really something that I really like. Interaction events, I really try my best, pass passion and my knowledge to students. And I'm actually coordinating an Erasmus bonus here at Sapienza, where we basically get many international students. And then I had the pleasure and the opportunity to teach physics, actually quantum optics. These experiences, I'm really having a lot of fun with that. I'm learning a lot about different cultures. And that's something really important, I believe. And I really believe that teaching is a way to bridge cultures. So teaching science is really something that I really like. And the other thing, of course, I told you that I built up 2 labs and I really enjoy my life in the lab. If you are there and then you work with the right people, I mean, this is something really special. Okay. And I can tell you that we made a lot of friends all around the world. Actually, in June, I'm going to visit a friend. He built up another lab in Germany. I did my lab here. And then now I'm going to do experiments with him. Then he comes here. He will do experiment with me in my lab. This is something that's very good friend, colleagues, friends, and good connections. I think that this is really special of our job. Also, when you go to conferences and possibly to discuss with so many people, I think that this is something special of our.
Oh, that is so cool. A few episodes ago, we had a guest who had a term for it, and she said it's like an international network of science besties. Where you find interesting labs and then you find interesting people, of course, and then spending time. It's like it's the best. Figuring the science out, doing the research, doing the experiments in the lab is just brilliant. I love that. I completely agree. I wish I could go back to that. That would be, you know what? I'm going to visit you at some point. I will do some sort of SEM images for you. And also, I'm glad that you love teaching because we need professors such as you who actually enjoy teaching and shape the next generation of scientists. I think that is very important.
Because somehow there is not enough training on quantum technologies. This Erasmus bonus is really focused on that, quantum science and technology. And we have to train the next generation of quantum physicists, quantum engineers, whatever you want to call them. And I think that's really important.
Are you also, Armando is involved in QUANTOR project, which is the quantum science community in Austria. Do you have something similar in Italy? I think you had mentioned something like National Quantum Science and Technology Institute. Do you want to tell me a bit more about that?
Yeah, this is actually is a really important initiative. In Italy, this NQCI, this is how we call it, so Quantum Science and Technology, where there are several entities working together on different aspects of quantum science and technology. Both QUANTOR that you mentioned, where Armando is really focused on fundamental physics. So this one here is focused on both. So fundamental science and also applied science, my quantum science. I think this is a really special occasion because within this institute now, so there are many groups all around Italy, and we are working together. I think it's really important to push also on national level quantum science and technology, and this is really a unique opportunity.
So NQSTI, National Quantum Science and Technology Institute, is it then based in Rome or does it have like several different locations or how does that work?
It involves all many different groups across Italy. Okay. So it's delocalized.
Delocalized. Okay.
Across Italy. Then, of course, I mean, many ceremonies. Also, the kickoff meeting was here in Rome. Rome is
the heart.
The core is the second part of Italy and the city. But delocalized. Okay.
Delocalized. Okay.
Working together across it.
Okay. I'm definitely going to check out and inform myself a lot more about NQSTI, which is the National Quantum Science and Technology Institute, all the initiatives that are going on, because this is definitely interesting. We will be right back after this short break. Up next, we ask our guest a fascinating question. If they could have 3 wishes to improve their research experience, what would they ask for? It's going to be a very interesting conversation, so don't go anywhere. Here at Under the Microscope, we have proudly produced over 200 episodes featuring distinguished materials and nanoscientists from across the world. Our community has grown from 0 to 10,000. 10,000. That is a big number. And this is the strong community. You are part of this community. You are the backbone of this journey from 0 to 10,000. We are calling each and every one of you to consider becoming a patron. If a financial contribution isn't possible for you right now, we understand, but there is still a very powerful way in which you can help. Follow our podcast, share the episodes on your social media. Imagine the impact if each and every one of you shares just one post a week. You're not just a listener, you're an active participant in a larger scientific conversation. Let's make this conversation louder Join us, support us, and let's reach 1 million views together. To become our patron, simply follow the link in the description of this episode. And thank you for your support. Now let's get back to the show. It sounds to me, other than the having to set up the lab 2 times, it sounds to me, Rinaldo, your experience in research has been amazing, of course. But if you had 3 wishes to improve your research experience, what would you ask for? And I'm not promising anything.
What I can say for sure that I would definitely love to have more time for research and also for teaching. Okay, I told you I love doing research, I love staying in the lab, but I also love teaching. And the point is that as soon as you go on with your career, you get more duties, you have commissions, you have to deal with many different things. You have to write reports, and then you have to write grants. You know how it works, right? But the point is that now it's become a little bit too much. It's bureaucracy. It's really a lot. And then you end up during the day working more than 10 hours, 12 hours. And sometimes you don't really do research or science. And this is a bit annoying. And I think that I'd really love to have, less duties and more time for staying in the lab. This is one thing. Then the other thing is for sure is that I believe that I have many young researchers working with me, and they are really struggling to find permanent position. I was kind of like, I also suffered somehow. And I think it cannot be that brilliant scientists have to fight really a lot to get a permanent position and to follow their dream to the science. I think that I would really, wish they could get permanent position. I would be really sad if somehow they had to leave academia or they can't find a permanent position. That I would be really sad. That's something that definitely I can improve in the system. Love that easier for good researchers
to stay. More time, lesser bureaucracy, and more permanent positions for young researchers, because I agree with you. It's a pity that academia or science or research loses out on some excellent talent and brilliant minds because of the organizational structures or the lack of organizational structures in some cases.
We have the possibility. They are so good, right? I don't think they could go abroad. And then this is something that also, as Italian, I would not love to see good. It's good that you are around. I told you, right? It's definitely good. Actually, I learned about traveling across Europe and then visiting many labs, doing postdocs here and there. But at some point, after a few years of postdocs, I think it's good that they find their own way.
Yes, absolutely. Also, that takes the pressure off, right? A bit of traveling around with temporary contracts, with postdocing here or there across the different labs, it's great. It also adds value. But I think there should be the option of having a permanent position. And if you still want to continue to go from one lab to the other, you can still do it. It's not like everyone has to be in one place at all times. I hope your wish comes true. And again, not every researcher, everyone who is from Italy or has started their research journey in Italy have to come back. But it's good to have that option that, hey, well, I do have an option of a permanent position, but I prefer to stay wherever they are.
So if then someone wants to go somewhere else, first Europe or, with the world, find a permanent position is wrong with all. But from our side as Italian, I would say that it's not good that we lose brilliant people. And then it would be because they can't find a position here, right? So this is even here if they want. If they want to go abroad, fine. We have this flux of brilliant minds going outside. That's no problem. If you would also have flux of incoming brilliant minds, and the flux is not balanced, I would say.
Finding that balance is, it would be good to have that sort of a balance. Yes, definitely. Completely understand. And I wish I had the magic wand to grant all 3 wishes of you have more time in the lab, less bureaucracy, and permanent contracts for everyone who wants them. I would like to believe that we are working towards it with professors, like people like you, Armando, Toby, or Doris, you being in the positions like decision-making or decision-influencing positions to change the structures from the inside so that the next generation of scientists or next to next generation of scientists will have lesser bureaucracy while setting up the lab like you did. Twice. I don't even want to ask you how many papers you have to fill and how long that's a separate podcast altogether. I see this.
But it was a lot of fun. Lots of bureaucracy, lots of work, but it was so funny, I have to say.
Yeah, but now it is fun, right? When you were doing it, was it fun?
Most of the time, it was stressful, that's for sure, right? But the lab and setting up things the way you want, because that's also another thing. The way you want, then you are really fun, I have to say. Lots of stress.
But it is worth it. It's like childbirth. It is a lot of stress, but it is worth it because then you love the lab and you love the child. Okay, perfect. Rinaldo, this has been wonderful. I really enjoyed speaking with you. And thank you very much for teaching me about the stressed quantum dots and why you stress them and why you have to stress them. Apologies to the listeners or watchers. I did not find a way to create more drama with the QUANTOR heroes. So with Armando, with Rinaldo, with Toby and Doris, because they all seem to be getting along like for some reason. So now my bets are on the next guest from Spain. Maybe there I can try a little bit. Maybe. I will try my best. But before I let you go, sorry?
I know that you are going to try hard. Let's see.
I'm going to try hard. Sure. I will get there. I will get there. Somehow I will get there and I will get the feud. And then when all of you are in one room, there would be like sparks flying and I would be sitting in the corner filming all of that for content for the science stuff to put it on YouTube. That would be brilliant. But indeed. Rinaldo, before I let you go, please tell me one last question I have for you. So in addition to featuring on our podcast Under the Microscope, you also get the keys to the Twitter account or X account called Real Scientist Nano, which maybe will be rebranded into Under the Microscope. But you basically get one entire week on the Twitter account, which has more than 3,400 followers. What can those followers expect in the week that you are tweeting from that account or Xing from that account? No pressure. No pressure.
No, I mean, we actually have already several plans. So we want to show Rome a little bit because there are some places that it's really wonderful. And there are some connections also to what we study, the secure communication and the landscape. So so there are a couple of things. And then there are many ideas. So we show you the labs, some of the instruments. We look at the source. Then we look at whether it is structural symmetry, right? That I mentioned before. And also that maybe there will be other surprises. So we plan also to show you this typical day of professor or PhD students here working in Rome. So a few things.
A bunch of fun and sciencey things as well. That is brilliant. That is brilliant. Looking forward to having you on Real Scientist Nano. This has been wonderful. Thank you very much, Rinaldo.
It was a pleasure for me. Thank you very much.